Hello, everybody. Happy International Jazz Day to you. And that means jazz means people coming together. That's one definition for me. I'm Monty Alexander. International is the word for me because I was born and raised up in a place called Jamaica. Kind of nice place to grow up in. And yes, we're all enduring some challenges at about now, right? But we have this thing called music. Music is a gift. Music is for us to be family because that's what this community is. That's how we got this far, right? That we could have such an incredible moment to celebrate us human beings through the gift of music that we call jazz. Jazz is about democracy and loving one another. And I've experienced that my whole life from I was a kid. When I first started to play the piano at 3 years old, there was a piano in the home, and I would go to the piano as a little kid and get up there and just go, and laugh my head off because I'm making my own sounds. This beautiful thing called piano becomes I call it my source of expression. I'm expressing myself happy, not so happy, but all emotions, right? I'd go to the piano and I said, if I did this, just black notes, look, not the white ones. I go like this. I just get all peaceful and I be smiling no time. I hit any note, black note. Oh my goodness, I hit this note here. It's melodious. Oh my goodness, the thunder is coming. Oh gosh. And I said, well, wait a minute, it's going to be okay. It's going to be the next thing you know, I'm playing waterfall and it's all sweet, all smiling and everything. And then I go, get a little dark now. And then I started to play melodies, little melodies. Let's see. Maybe not. So you got to hit that note. Anyhow, that's me and my piano when I'm 5, 6 years old. My mother would say to me, Monty, I want you to play a song for me. I said, what song you want me to play? See, she said, play Around the World in 80 Days. That was a song we used to all play in those days. And it would go like this. What note? It's got to be a white note. I learned to do the mandolins. Yeah. So I would start to entertain mom and dad and the friends next door, and I'm loving this piano. And then I would hear on the radio this music that made you do this thing, and I'd say, yeah. I'm doing this thing they call blues. Oh, I got the quarantine blues. Make you feel not so good. Oh, I got the quarantine blues. Don't make you feel so good. Okay, so that's blues, right? I remember going to the movies. I go to the movies here and I'm like getting carried away with the sounds. And I hear the piano in the movies and the orchestra. I said, man, where's that music coming from? And it's not behind the screen and the curtain where the movie is being played. It was part of the film. And I go home and I learn to play classical kind of stuff. Classical kind of piano, right? But I'm making it up. This place called piano is an opportunity for me to go dreaming. I start dreaming. I'm making up all this music. I'm gonna play. I used to love the Western movies. You'd hear the song Happy Trails. It's Happy Trails. Then I would realize you could play different ways of playing it. Hey. I'm gonna play a song I like very much. The great Bob Marley composed a song, and it addresses people who are having a hard time. It's just a song. It's called No Woman. I'm gonna say no everybody. No everybody, don't cry. But you gotta cry, we gotta cry. But I'm gonna play No Woman, No Cry, and it goes like this. Yeah, a little louder tune. Couldn't get the tune, folks. I don't know why. Change the key. Oh. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Well, folks, I just played some of this and some of that. We mix it up together, and then you have what's called, I call it Make It Up. And that was for me the beginning of jazz. When I heard blues, and then I heard jazz, the first big jazz person to me, because my mother and father would play Nat King Cole. I don't know if you can see that picture, but that's Nat King Cole and another hero, Mr. Frank Sinatra, who I had the honor of playing the piano for. I was told Mr. Sinatra is here and he needs a little piano playing. And they said, Monty, play for Frank. And this was back in 1960, something like that, I guess. And I played for Sinatra. But both those men, they gave us the best of the what's called American's songbook. And by the way, that's the cornerstone for our music. Those songs is what people like Charlie Parker took, and they turned them around and twisted them around and came something called bebop. And I'm learning all this stuff just by the sense of delight that I had in all this music. So I heard jazz. I saw in Jamaica my big hero, Mr. Louis Armstrong. I saw Louis Armstrong on stage. I was just a little kid, and I got to shake his hand after the concert. I didn't wash my hands for about a couple of months, it seemed like. But that's how I got into this thing called music, and it just was such a joy for me to be able to play and make myself feel good. Because to me, it's great to have a lot of knowledge about how you play the chords. And by the way, I didn't say this, I never went to one of those academies or music colleges. I guess I felt uncomfortable, when people are saying, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I thought I was stubborn, and I kind of went my own way, and I would just listen to the music on the radio, the records at home, and I'd go to see my father would let me see the musicians that were playing in Kingston. We had some terrific musicians that were playing American beautiful songs, American songs, but we heard the local calypso, which is the forerunner to that beautiful thing that came out of Jamaica called reggae music with rhythm, which also, when Bob Marley came along, he was inspired by rhythm and blues music, people like Curtis Mayfield and Sam Cooke, and he was making his tunes. But behind it all, you heard that island rhythm, which when they addressed it a certain way and did certain things with the beat, it became ska, it became reggae, it became rock steady. All these names I have. By the way, all these names are just names. It's what you do with it that makes the difference. It's about getting the goosebumps when you play, you know? And that's why I always got thoroughly inspired when I saw my heroes of music. I'd go out of my way to go see whoever the great artists were. In the piano, I met Errol Garner, who made the piano for a whole orchestra. He started playing the piano, you know. He had to play. Okay. I remember April. I just fell into that song just now. Well, folks, it's a thrill to play some tunes. Let me do a song that I was inspired by Nat King Cole. It's called Nature Boy, and I'll do some things that will be a little radical, you may call it, and I'll go like this. A lot of what I'm playing is I'm taking a chance. I don't know if I'm gonna hit the right note. I'm taking a chance. If you don't take a chance, you don't go anywhere. I like this thing I'm gonna do. Nature Boy, written by a man named Eden Abez. He brought that song to Nat Cole, and at first they were so busy they didn't. I mean, they was Nat and his manager. They never really listened to it at the time. He brought the music sheet, and one day, some weeks later, Nat Cole had the music on the piano at home, And he said, let me see what this song is. And then he looked at the words, and that was one of his first big songs. And he sang about the idea of somebody who lived in the spirit, which is the other part of our makeup. And by the way, this music for me, the best of it, the most meaningful part of the music is the spirit. And going back to the word jazz, that's what brings us together. It's the spirit of the music, the spirit of friendship, the spirit of peace, the spirit of love, the spirit of good times, and looking for, I like to say, the donut, not the hole. If you look at the donut, it's got a hole in the middle. You can't eat the hole, right? You got to eat the donut. So I say, when I play, I start thinking of the donut, not the hole. The donut is about positive thinking, and we musicians, we're here to bring positivity and upliftment and joy. Sounds silly to a lot of people, but believe you me, folks, that's how this thing called jazz started. When Louis Armstrong said, we got to have a good time today, or something like that. Everybody had a good time. And that's for me what this is about. Let's see. I'm gonna play a little song now. I kind of like the song. It's called Never Let Me Go. Never let me go. Well, folks, I just did a little piano meandering. I call it meandering. Make it up, sit at the piano. There are no people in the room except my wonderful assistant, Miss Cat. She's here making sure that the thing don't drop and the light is there. And see my suit that I put on because this is a special occasion, as far as I'm concerned. And I was reminded about now I could invite Q&A. You know what that means? Question and answer. So you ask a question, a good question, not goofy, and I'll try to give a sensible answer. So I now sit awaiting your request. I'm here to try to make sense. Not easy. Okay, here we go. On this special day, International Jazz Day, I'm gonna call it Universal Jazz Day. This should go to Pluto, Mercury, and Neptune, all those faraway places that we dream about going to. I think some people do. Well, as soon as we get over this crisis, yeah, we can get back on the track and start thinking about going to Mercury and Neptune and Pluto and all those places and keep playing music and bringing all those people together. Okay. Question? No questions. Okay. We don't have any questions. I'll ask myself a question. So, Monty, why do you talk funny? Well, where I come from in Jamaica, I'll kind of demonstrate how the people talk, right? We kind of talk like this. You just throw the word around and it come out your mouth easy. I remember Grandma and Aunt Mary and Uncle Joe, them talk like this. So, Monty, you have to talk better. You can't just talk like bush up guy up in the bush part of Jamaica. You have to speak a little more cultured. Now, we went to school and they said, now you must pronounce the words properly. So when I came to America and I was 17 years old, and my mother said, no, when you leave the house, don't talk like a Jamaican. What's that? She said, speak properly. That way you'll get more responses. So I'm speaking more properly, and my proper speaking is either the British way, when I could speak like this. First of all, the British were a very big part of Jamaica in those days. It was just around that time that they decided to leave and go back where they came from, which was to England, and leave the Jamaicans to be Jamaicans, 100%. And then came the great musicians, and Bob Marley came, and you start to hear the music, and one love, Bob said.
I have questions if you're ready.
Yeah, throw the question.
Okay.
Let me hear.
One question, there's 3 questions. One question is how to practice the left hand.
Wow. Well, I would say the best way that you could practice your left hand, put this hand, the right one, in your pocket. Don't even take it out. For about, you go to your piano to have a little fun. Now, I'm always saying to people, listen, don't play the piano when you go to quote unquote practice. Yes, practice, but try to make it a fun-filled experience. And here's a little game. I remember doing this because I wanted to do, make up stuff, but I would go into a room, first of all, and turn out the lights. I couldn't see the notes of the piano. So I was temporarily sightless, and I go to the piano. And I said, what note is that? And I feel that note next to it, and I feel 2 black notes, and I said, that must be C. That must be F, A, E flat, A flat. By the way, I didn't always even know the name of the note. I just played the note. And that was a little exercise. Turn out the lights, go to the piano and start. So I'm just, I don't see it, I'm thinking it. And by the way, the greatest pianist, one of the greatest, was a man, Mr. Art Tatum, who was almost 100%, maybe 99% sightless. But he played piano like, let me tell you, like he had 5 hands. 5 hands, all right. As far as the left hand, put the right hand in the pocket and you play what you would play in your right hand. Now, I had an injury recently, meaning my left hand is a little less than it was before, but that doesn't stop you, right? So if you want to play a song, instead of playing it here, Popeye. Left hand. Let the left hand do as much as it can without the right hand. And you'll develop a strength, a confidence, and independence. And that's why some of us use the left hand. In my case, I think I've been told that I use it as rhythm. It's a big part of rhythm. But guess what? Nothing to stop me from doing it. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. Okay,
Couple more questions.
please ask
We have
me.
5 minutes left.
Oh no. All right.
From Antigua, question is, what keeps you motivated to play?
Well, I would say motivation for me has been a very meaningful existence from being a young guy who was just going through life and just a happy kid. I guess I was a happy kid, and the motivation is continuing to look for the happiness, the joy, the positivity, and dealing with sad things in a way where it would help me out of the sadness. So there was always music to lift me from one position to another. But the inspiration came. I'm going to show you somebody who might say, how can that be? This man, we all know who he is Muhammad Ali. When Ali got into the ring and started being the incredible artist of pugilism, we call it, not to hurt people, but to move and bob and weave, and he used to say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I'm thinking that when I play the piano, I'm bobbing and weaving, I'm making it up, I'm going left, right, whatever. And I say that that was an inspiring approach to music. It wasn't just play the notes and go through the no. It was to make it a surprise. I would surprise myself by taking chances. You never know when you're gonna have to duck and then throw a little left jab, and that's I'm thinking that not from a point of violence or anything, but my inspiration also comes from nature. Absolutely, I wrote a song called "The River," and believe you me, folks, it was all inspired. And the river means a certain place in our hearts. That all came from the inspiration of a flowing river, and that inspired me. And also, when I hear music from my musical heroes, whether it's Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Bob Marley, and the great pianists, whether it be Herbie Hancock or Chick Corea or all the other great men, Errol Garner, Mr. Ahmad Jamal, my heroes, people that I got to see when I was growing up, and that, believe you me, that said, man, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I'm still doing it, thank God. And this is what helps me during this time of challenge. And I encourage you all to keep tuned in to the good music and the good sounds, whether it be classical or folk or blues, but you put it all together in your way, and that's when it becomes jazz.
There's 2 minutes left. One question. Uh, Somebody's asking how you learned jazz standards, picking them up from radio, transcribing them, or sheet music.
Well, I never used sheet music. I never transcribed. My way of getting to know these songs was right here. And I call it radar. I got some radar working for me. And the more I used the radar, the more effective it was. It's like putting oil in the machine, in the engine. The more you use it, you get better at it. But I would hear the songs on the radio, and I go to the piano and just start making up. I had to play for my mother. Fascination. That's coming from me hearing people sing those words, and the words would inspire me. The melody would inspire me, and that's how I would learn standards. And so many, in fact, I didn't even know the names of those standards. I just hear that song, I say, yeah, it's the very thought of you, and the very thought of you, and all of us out here today. Stay safe, stay smart, stay vigilant. Don't kid around in the wrong way. Keep that distance that the wise people are telling us to do. And I can only say to you, so long. Soon come, as we say in Jamaica. God bless. And everybody think the good thoughts and play the good notes.